I was working at McLaren, living in my 2000 Lincoln Town Car in a church parking lot, and I enjoyed what I was doing, but I hated my life. Like, by no means was I living any type of quality of life. 2 weeks before my daughter was born, my boss called me and was like, you're fired. Everybody has a moment in entrepreneurship where they're kind of plucked out of your comfort zone by force. It was either like, okay, start this automation business and try doing it, or don't pay the hospital bills for your daughter and see what happens. The bigger the dragon, the greater the hero. I think the number one killer of any person that I've ever met is their own self-doubt or fear. Fear's the mind killer. And it is true, man. When I'm living in my car, this is a big dragon, and I'm gonna have a great story. That phrase is just stuck with me for pretty much my entire life. And it's not really advice, it's just kind of a mental framework to put yourself in when you feel like you're going through it. It's just the dragon. It's just building a greater hero.
What do humans essentially associate themselves? What happens when robotics come in where you just pay $28,000 for a Tesla robot and they're trained with everything that they need to get done, and it's not. It's a one-time payment.
People are dubbing it the dot-com bubble of our generation. What we're doing is we're figuring out more and more ways to become disconnected from the world. And then as people become more and more disconnected, they're going to realize it because they're going to turn around and everything's going to be automated. There's no more taxi drivers. There's no more fast food workers. There's no more, if you hire a cleaning service to come to your house, they're not sending a maid, they're sending a robot. And as all of that happens, everybody's going to be like, holy shit, wait, where is everybody? Wait, where am I? Why am I alone? All right, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the 1% Podcast. I'm your host, Vin End.
And I'm Shane.
And today we're joined by my man, Joe. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. Good to be here.
Yeah, man, we're excited. Guys, we have a really awesome episode for you today. Joe has an extensive life history. The man's held a few jobs he'll tell you about. He's also been living in his car at one point, but now he's a wildly successful entrepreneur who has cracked some codes and systems to help him scale to the top, and he helps other companies scale in the process. So he's going to get into what all of that looks like. We're also going to have a really riveting conversation today. Do people still say riveting, or is that an old term I'm bringing back?
Yeah, an old term.
Yeah. It's good. If you still watch old Disney movies, sure.
Yeah. So we got a riveting conversation around AI, what we think the future might look like, and we're going to talk a lot about the bigger differences between AI and agentic models, because that is something that's going to be pretty relevant. If you guys know what I'm talking about, that's great. If you don't worry. I don't know either. I just know this is the stuff we're going to get into. So have a listen. Stay tuned for the episode. You won't want to miss this because we're talking about what's coming up in the future, and Joe's going to shed a lot of light on it, and he's got a crazy story. So stick around, enjoy, and let's get into it. All right, Joe, so can you tell the audience a little about who you are, what you've built, and how you've done it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's going to take, I'll be as brief as I can.
And humble.
Yeah, and humble, super humble, way more humble than anybody else. So if anybody else tries to be more humble than me, they're going to lose.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I right now I like to call myself a tech GC, tech general contractor, because at this point, with the speed of everything that's happened with AI and the talent that I have on my team, I feel like we're a tech GC, and I feel like a lot of those companies are kind of coming more out of the woodwork as time goes on. But I own a company called SmartClick, and I've been operating for probably like 4.5, almost 5 years. And we started out just as an automation company. I started, I think 6 months before ChatGPT came out, I started my automation business. And I'll get into why I started an automation business because I don't have a tech background. But I bought a course on API language from Udemy. And it was just like crusty old dude on a whiteboard and a chalkboard, like talking about how to send HTTP requests and create, read, update, and delete, and API servers, and all the technical language it takes to write Python that can do automations. So I was learning there, and started with Zapier, and did that for about 6 months until GPT came out, and then the world changed. So I've had my automation company, like I said, for about 4.5 years, and we've kind of molded into automation, AI automation, I guess is what you have to call it now. Clickup implementation, we were a Clickup partner pretty early on, and then full stack development. So we build applications, and we build custom servers for like enterprise services that need very ultra specific things. So that's kind of what we've evolved to. As you can tell, I'm the number one Asana hater. I've worked with Clickup for probably about the same amount of time, about 4 years now. And they're like my preferred partner for everything project management related, because I've worked with just about every project management API under the sun, and they all stink, especially this one. Actually, it's funny, my most engaging LinkedIn posts are all ones where I'm just crapping on Asana. I'll just do like 10 reasons to quit Asana, 20,000 views. Like I just 2 sentences just like cursing at Asana and tagging them, 20,000 views. I do one post that I actually spend time on, like 10. Like anytime I guess a lot of people out there hate Asana, but anyway. So first time we talked, Vin, I think I ran you through some of the jobs that I've had, but I believe I've had over 32 jobs since the age of 15. And I've lived in 9 different states. So I grew up in the DMV in DC, Maryland, Virginia area. And I've lived in Arizona, I've lived in Texas, I've lived in New Mexico, I've lived in obviously Florida, all 3, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia. I've lived all over the place. And so when I started my automation company, I was working at a roofing company, which I had just moved to because I was working before that at McLaren in Miami. So I was a technician for McLaren in Miami, which I thought was going to be like the last job I ever had, because I've always loved cars. And I got hired somehow at McLaren working on $2.5 million cars as a technician. And I thought that's where I was going to stay. But unfortunately, when you're working on cars that expensive, it takes you forever to get tenured. So I was like $13 an hour, I think. I do like a dual clutch transmission. It's like a $60,000 job. And here's your $350 for doing your hours on it. So that wasn't going to work for me. And I was living in Miami, which is like one of the most expensive places in the country to live. So I was bouncing around doing a ton of different jobs. At the time in Miami, I was working at McLaren, living in my 2000 Lincoln Town Car in a church parking lot. And I enjoyed what I was doing, but I hated my life. Like by no means was I living any type of quality of life. My dad had been in software development for a very long time. Like in the early 90s, he was writing code, and most of the people in my family are engineers, but I had no kind of engineering background. So very long story short, I started learning HTTP and I started learning Zapier and just playing around with automations and stuff. And I was between McLaren and this roofing job that I was at. My boss called me 2 weeks before my daughter was born and was like, you're fired. I guess the company wasn't doing super well and I got laid off right before my daughter was born. And so I kind of hit this point that every entrepreneur, I feel like everybody has a moment in entrepreneurship where they're kind of plucked out of your comfort zone by force. Maybe not everybody. Some people are really well planned out. I am a horrible planner when it comes to this stuff. And I probably never would have jumped ship and started on my own unless I had been forced to. So I got plucked out of my comfort zone, and it was either like, okay, start this automation business and try doing it, or don't pay the hospital bills for your daughter and see what happens. So that's kind of the genesis of how SmartClick was born. And I just started, I knew my technical skills were very, very minimal. I knew how to do a few things pretty well. And so I just started DMing influencers like on TikTok, because at the time, before McLaren, I was a firefighter in Northern Virginia, and I had started making like TikToks of like tying knots and like, doing firefighter stuff. And I had like 50,000 followers, I think, at the time on TikTok. And so I had a little bit of clout, enough where I could DM someone and they would take me seriously, but like not enough to be making any kind of money off of it or anything. So I started just DMing every influencer that I could, being like, hey, I'm doing this automation stuff. I'm doing like marketing and media automations and content automations and stuff. I'd love to like build you something for free. And so I started doing all of these automations for influencers for free. I mean, I was DMing like 10 people a day, just like, hey, I do automation stuff. Please, I'm starting my business. I need, referrals. Is there anything you need automated? Is there anything you need built? And so I remember there was a guy named Chris Claflin on TikTok. You should look him up. He looks like TikTok Jesus. Like, he's got long hair. He's incredible storyteller. He had I think 1.5 million followers at the time, and I loved his content. And he had a link in his bio for what it was. It was like he charged $250 for 30 minutes of content consulting to make your content better. And I was like, I really liked his content. I really liked how he's told stories, and he knew he did a lot of stuff about cars. Like, he did a lot of storytelling around automotive brands. So I was like, you know what? I'll book a call with him and see if I can close him on something. So I had, I think, like $600 in my bank account at the time. And I remember telling my wife, Samantha, I was like, hey, if you see $200 come out of the bank account, I'm booking a call with this guy, Chris, because I think there might be something there. So I spent, very close to the last money that I had in my checking account booking this call with Chris Claflin. Then ended up completely changing my life, because I got on the call with him. I was like, hey, I actually don't want to talk about content at all. And we basically just talked shop about automation and about the business and what I'm trying to do. And he let me do some free work for him. And then he eventually ended up paying me to do a couple of things, and then made an introduction that changed my entire life. He introduced me to a guy named Chris Cunningham, who was one of the founding members at Clickup. So how that happened is I was doing work for Chris Claflin. He had this project that he wanted me to do, that he was interested in using ClickUp. And he was like, hey, I want the CRM management system for my video editing agency that I'm running. And so as I was building that for him in ClickUp, Chris Cunningham from ClickUp hit up Claflin and was like, hey, we would love you to do some content for us. And in exchange, we'll build you a custom ClickUp workspace. And he was like, I'm actually working with this guy, Joe, already, who's building my ClickUp workspace. You should talk to him. So got me on a call with Chris Cunningham, and one thing led to another. I got approved as a ClickUp partner. ClickUp started sending me their influencers that they didn't want to mess up relationships with. So they would do a campaign with an influencer, and they'd do this offering of hey, we'll build you, we'll help you build your workspace, whatever. And I became the guy for that. So yeah, I met Chris Cunningham. He introduced me to a bunch of people, and I had enough people that I had done free work for at the time that I could start to stand on and charge a lot of money for my work. And it went from going I was doing $300 or $400 or $1,000 a month to $20,000, $30,000 a month, because all of a sudden I was charging basically nothing for a ClickUp build to charging $20,000, $30,000 for ClickUp build, pretty much out of nowhere, because I was able to actually charge that much because I had a reputation of excellence in that field. So ClickUp ended up hiring me for a short time as a product manager and to do some creator work for them. I stayed there for probably 8 months. I didn't stay there a tremendously long time because I was like, look, I got my business is picking up. I can't be an employee here and run my business at the same time, which they understood. So yeah, that's how I got where I'm at right now. And in the midst of all that, the whole AI boom happened, the whole AI automations, drop shipping, I should call it, industry came out and ruined the internet. No, I'm kidding. It's been mostly good, I suppose, but which has led us here. So that's the shortest version of my story that I can tell. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
The keynote.
Well, I feel like Vin brought you on for you and I to have a whole entire conversation. So let's depict this apart here. Let's start with AI. Since AI's come out, I imagine Zapier is going to take a tremendous fallback with automation tools like Make AI coming out and just making it super, super inexpensive and cheap and easy to use with the courses that they have there. It's tough because I've been using Zaps. I mean, ever since, ClickFunnels were super big and huge. And that was the integration for everything, for database to ads to, one voice to talk to another one. Yeah, it's so funny that you brought up ClickUp. I came from ClickUp as far as my business for the company that we had. And for those of you guys that don't know what ClickUp is like an all-in-one encompassing CRM that you can also host communication. So imagine like Slack and a CRM that's combined that you can also host. And I imagine that's probably helped with Joe as well. Help desk ticket systems, in implementing invoices, essentially imagine like another Go High Level, but also a comms platform in there too, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
But the only downside is if you host more than 500-600 people into the channel, it uses up a lot of data and memory, and it slows down the system. That was the only problem that we had with it, is we outgrew it.
Yeah.
But ClickUp, amazing. I love that one. Also not a big fan of Asana either, so that's something we can actually agree on. The same thing. There's just so many tools out there that are coming out. Anyways, I don't want to talk about all that. So your rise to fame here is essentially taking a chance with little money that you had in the account, believing in yourself, doubling down on yourself, telling your wife that I'm taking 1/3 of the money that we have in the bank. I'm going to hire this guy. And look what happened. You grew a relationship, and that essentially changed your entire life, your entire outcome. You chose a fork in the road and said, I'm going this route. And look what happened from it. That's amazing. It's phenomenal. This is essentially what we preach for entrepreneurs and business owners is you have to believe in yourself. You have to go all in on this. And that's what you did. Now, I still don't fully understand what specifically you build and what you do. Could you elaborate on these automations that you essentially build for these influencers, for business owners? Is it like agentic models that you're building that's essentially done for you?
I have so many soapboxes that I have. I'll do my best not to pull out.
That's kind of what it made it seem. It was like, I can do whatever it is that you're looking for, but what's like the bread and butter?
So first of all, there's like, oh man. So the AI, N8N make, okay, personally, I have my little Zapier bag in the background. They've flown me out a few times. I have a lot to say about Zapier, especially with their future. Zapier. But these AI platforms and these YouTube videos of 4.5 hours long of build your agent, SDR, BDR, CIA, FBI, NSA, 1 terabyte Pro Max agent, whatever the hell it is. Mm-hmm. It's just reality is 99% of these things don't work, right? And so we see all these like they're influencer tech bros, and all they are is Shopify dropshipping from 2016. It's shiny object syndrome. Oh, you can take this automation template and resell it for $5,000. It's just like, no, you can't. None of this works that way. It's like if I could label myself as a mechanic and sell you a car that I fixed up, but if I don't actually know how to work on a car, the second it starts making a noise, I'm going to be like, yeah, I don't know what that is. I don't know how to fix that. A 404, I don't know what that is. Like a GET request, I don't know what that is. And yeah, I could go look it up on ChatGPT and maybe it's going to give me the right answer, or maybe it's going to take me the complete wrong direction. Anyway, you have all these AI influencer tech bros selling all their AI automation agent stuff. And the reality is like things that seem like they're agentic are often not. And things that people try to make agentic often shouldn't be. Like if there's programmatic logic that can handle a scenario, it should be programmatic. Don't use agents, don't use AI architecture unless you absolutely have to. Programmatic logic is always going to be the best. We have two main branches of the business right now, and then we have a bunch of lead magnets and funnels and stuff to bring people into these two main parts of the business. So the two main parts of the business are ClickUp implementation and business automation. Those are the two major branches. People come to us because they need a website built, or people come to us because they need an email automation sequence, or people come to us because they need leads automatically followed up on, or whatever it is. People come to us because they have specific automation needs. 9 times out of 10, we audit their business like most automation companies do, and we realize, oh, they're using Google Sheets and Microsoft Office and also Google Workspace and also Dropbox and Slack and GroupMe and WhatsApp and whatever else, their AOL Messenger, whatever it is they're using. And so we often take businesses, our core competency, if you will, is taking businesses that are in 10 different places, centralizing them on one platform, building manual workflows that work really well, and then automating them. So that's like our core business. Oftentimes it's very high price tag to do all that stuff. So we bring people in at smaller, lower wins for them. Okay, when this happens on your website, an AI agent calls someone and extracts information from them. Great. But then we go to, where does that information go? What do we do based off that information? What other things do you want to happen? Do we put them into a bucket? Do we remarket them? Do they get this? Do they get X? Do we get Y? And then it's like, okay, well, we have to have a place to put this stuff. We have to have a place to store the data. We need to have a dashboard. So where do we host it all? We can't do it in a Google Sheet. So oftentimes our business goes from, we sell an automation product like a lead follow-up system or a ticketing system, that turns into like, let's put your business and organize it somewhere, Asana, ClickUp, Monday, Salesforce, it doesn't matter. And then we can automate the manual processes that work well. So that's kind of what we do.
So it's like an EOS model that enhances with automation, follow-up. Essentially, it's a complete done-for-you system from start to finish, right? It's crazy to me that it's 2025 and people are still using G Sheets for their database and not having any organization or structure to it. Mind-boggling to me, but I mean, we hear it all day long, so pretty spot on. I like that it's custom too.
It's there's some things that are very cookie cutter that work for lots of people, and then other things that are very custom. When it comes to integrations, lots of things have to be custom unless a platform you're working with integrates with another platform, and that those two companies have already worked out a way to do it. Specifically, like, so that's the automation side. A lot of times people come to us and they're like, we want to put our company on Clickup. So we'll do a whole Clickup implementation for them. And I say, by the way, we also implement with, we can integrate this with Stripe or with QuickBooks or with Squarespace, or when this task's moved there, an update to the website goes out, whatever it is. So those are the kind of two ways that people come to us. But yeah, it is, people often are running $10 million businesses off of email and text message with their employees and paper contracts, and more power to them. Like, there's people that have all the tech and all the AI that can't do $10,000 in sales over a year. And there's guys out here with paper and pencil that don't know how to make a landing page, but they'll go knock doors and sell their thing to whoever it is in person and kick everyone else's ass, know, and they don't have anything. So yeah, I mean,
I wanted to make a just a statement based on what you previously said about the agentic models and about AI, what's currently happening now. Joe's absolutely right. I mean, I've been in for the AI, doubled down probably into it for the last 2 years because I have a virtual assistant company. I saw the writing on the wall, right? The same thing, the AI agents, the SDRs that were going to be going for qualifying, the AI sales reps. And what it comes to the end of the day is people still prefer humans. It's just they prefer humans that know how to utilize AI. That's the advantage for now. However, that is a very temporary statement. When somebody has created an easy to use agentic model that has become accepted by the actual public, it's a game changer. And I think that's currently what the big boys are trying to do. That's what Meta is, signing on for these gigantic bonuses for these engineers. They're simplifying things. So I think this statement is realistic for maybe 2 to 5 years. I think the bigger question is when that does go out, and even in 10 years when robotics come into place, I don't know if we want to shift this conversation towards this,
I love this conversation.
What do humans essentially associate themselves with, right? Because we all associate ourselves with our purpose, with our job, especially blue collar and white collar people. What do you do? That's the first thing that people say, right? I'm a plumber. I'm an electrician. I'm a high-end CEO that does this, this, and this. So what happens when all of that is automated? What happens when robotics come in where you just pay $28,000 for a Tesla robot and they're trained with everything that they need to get done and it's done? It's a one-time payment. So I think that's the biggest questioning troublesome that I have to me is the next 10 years for that future.
I did a YouTube video about this. I only got like 10 views, but I didn't care because I was just riffing on it. I think there's a few things here that are really, really important. And that is, we all know that people don't buy products, right? They buy people, they buy a message, they buy everything but the product. If I sell holsters for Glocks, I hope that, and if we talk about Glocks, hopefully that doesn't do anything to the podcast. If I sell holsters for Glocks and I put a Made in America sticker on it, I can sell it for $30 more and probably sell a lot, if not more of them, because a lot of Americans are patriots. And a lot of Americans now more than ever aren't afraid to say that they're patriots. Right now, I had to call a lawyer last week, and I got an AI intake. I immediately hung up the phone. I'm not doing it. I build AI agents all the day. I can immediately recognize them. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm going to talk to a receptionist that asks me about my day, that cares about me. Maybe they have kids. Maybe they can relate to the same things that I do. I'm not doing it. I think there's something to be said for buying human versus buying AI. And there's already a separation we're seeing in the market for made in the USA. Like, nothing against having virtual assistants at all. I used to use them. My company, my engineers, more for security purposes than anything, I only hire 100% US-based engineers. Anyone on my team that has access to any of my data on any of my servers anywhere, 100% US-based. I can charge, and I do charge a lot more because I make that part of my pitch. Everyone on my team is in the United States. I will go to their house if something happens. That's one piece. So people will buy a Made in America sticker for the exact same product simply because they're patriots. I think if we actually, which this shift happens very slowly in my opinion, if we actually got to a point where it was like, hey, we can replace SDRs and BDRs and we can replace retail with these bots and things like that, you will have a legitimate market for. My business is 80%. We have whatever special seal or brand or label it is that we've been officially certified. We are 80% human, 20% AI, or 90% human, whatever it is. Maybe the most average consumer doesn't care, but I will always prefer people, always. Even if it's a subpar product, if the experience is better, I will prefer the people every time. So I think there's going to be a place in the market for, okay, by and large right now, we are seeing a massive decline in in-person customer service. Going to McDonald's, dude, yeah, we're going to kiosks and we're going to AI answering machines because people are just so unmotivated. Call them whatever you want. It sucks. The human experience sucks. But a new market will arise for premium Chick-fil-A level customer service where it's like, yeah, you can use a robot or you can use people who actually give a crap and who have similar experiences to you. And I think that's going to create this whole renaissance of customer service becoming the pinnacle value in a company. And I'm really excited for that because we excel in that already.
Just one statement here, Vin, before you take over. I hope you're right, Joe. I hope you are. It's the troubling part is that I personally see, and history has proved myself right, is greed takes over. Companies, business owners, they see dollar signs comparatively to people. And I don't mean to say this in a negative because that's why I want to lead off. I hope you're right. I'm in my virtual assistant company not to sell it because I love the people. Yeah. I built it for the foundation people here. I love when they tell me I got my first house because of you, my first car because of you,
right? Yeah.
Blank because of you. That still gives me goosebumps and what feeds me to drive even better. Same thing. My family, my 2 kids, my wife feeds me to be better. I vote for people. I just hope that people view the same thing as you just said, because what you're saying is a small taste to where reality is shifting towards. McDonald's, IKEA, grocery stores, scanning it yourself, we're idolizing ourselves and removing away human contact.
Well, yeah, we are, but McDonald's just released a Chick-fil-A killer. They have gold sauce now. It's just as good. It's the exact same thing as Chick-fil-A sauce. They have the whatever McCrispy. I've tasted it. It's the exact same. McDonald's will never beat Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A's closed 1 month a year more than McDonald's is. McDonald's, no matter how automated they are, they're never going to. I don't think they're ever going to beat Chick-fil-A. And Chick-fil-A is never going to put people there because they're a Christian company and they believe in hiring people. I think that we're going to see a massive shift.
Chick-fil-A.
What's that? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think the other thing too, and my dad brought this up, because even he said even in the 90s and they were coding this stuff, they were already talking about this because they're if anybody who writes Python can see this kind of writing on the wall. Robots don't vote. And so it's not going to be over, in my opinion, it's not going to be overnight everybody's being replaced. People are going to start noticing that there's less to do. And then who do we run to? Our politicians.
Right.
And do you think any politician is going to run on, I'm going to replace everyone's jobs? No. The free market's going to get out of control. A politician will step in and say, we need to force a certain amount of regulation. No politician's going to run on, I'm going to get rid of you all. It's not good for politics for robots to replace people because robots do not vote. People are not going to vote themselves out of a living. Now, where they might be tempted is this stupid idea that's completely inconsequential and will always end in blood, which is universal basic income, which is not going to work for anybody.
Right.
I think that will be a temptation, but I certainly don't think this will happen without a fight because robots and AI don't vote. And I don't think people will vote themselves. It just, even if they did, it wouldn't make sense for a politician to get reelected after they've implemented policies that allow AI to do. I just don't, in a political sense, I don't see that being able to happen because our military industrial complex, our government, none of it can work.
You have to look at the vast majority, though. You have to look at who is feeding these votes. It's the lower class. It's the lower middle class. Are they going to think that way if we're going to give them welfare checks, whatever we want to call them, subsidies, that are going to be above their means? This is not level-headed mindedness that you.
No, yeah, I know. We're playing to the lowest common denominator. I get it.
So that's the bit. I got to stop talking. Vin is
No, this is great.
You and I can have follow-up combos too.
I sit all day in this office, bro, all day, and I look at this background and I stare at this camera and I do this from 3 a.m. until 5 p.m. every single day. I take an hour for jujitsu at 5 a.m. and then I come back home. All I do, all I want to do is talk to people about this.
Dude, I tell Vin all the time, that's literally my thing that I say here. I build empires behind my screen in my underwear all day long, baby.
It's fascinating, though. And I think, too, Shane, like, it sounds like you have a similar working style to me. Like, one, I think this is all going to happen a lot slower than people think. Like, go to middle America, go to Publix. I don't know where do you live, Shane? What state do you live in?
I'm in Vegas.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Go to Henderson, go to some of the retired folks and they'll be like, oh, what's ChatGPT? Like a lot of these people haven't even been there.
Right.
I think we are on the cutting edge of technology. Mm-hmm. I try to stay my best to stay off LinkedIn. It's depressing as hell. When you go there, because we all think in terms of digital. Everything's digital, AI this, AI that. But the fact is that nobody really, maybe in a removed sense, they experience that in the real world. But when I go to the gym, when I go to eat at a restaurant, nobody wants that shit. Maybe on the back end they do, but in the vast majority of human experiences, people don't want it. Unless it's better than people, which right now it is. But again, I feel like this customer service renaissance is coming. So I hope I'm right too, Shane. I really do. I have a lot of faith in people. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. But my bet is on not happening. Not just divulging into anarchy. I think it's going to happen slow enough that it will get regulated. I think it will absolutely get regulated. So, yeah, there you go. That's my 2 cents on that.
I like it.
My other thing I like to rant on is about how people should not be using AI for shit that, dude, I'll have a customer that's like, oh, can we use an AI agent to like put a thing into this thing? And I'm like, yeah, or we could just say if it's a 0, put it here, and if it's a 1, put it. We don't have to have an agent say if it's a 0, put it there. If it's a 1, put it there. Just have programmatic Python that does it. If it's 0, go there. If it's 1, go there. I don't know, dude.
You and I have a lot to talk about offline here, buddy.
It drives me crazy, dude. These AI workflow tech slingers that have no idea
Yeah.
Oh, okay. If you went on YouTube right now and you look at these, replace your X with Y innate-end workflow, look how many views are on that video.
Mm-hmm.
There's like 20 million views, less than that. It's probably like 2 million views on a video that's like automate X with Y, innate-end workflow.
Right.
If a quarter of those people watching the video actually followed through, the world would look different. But the reality is, there's so much tinkering and customization that happens when you're building that shit. If you don't actually know what you're doing, it becomes just a ginormous waste of time. So we sit here and it's entertainment. You're watching this end-to-end workflow. You save it into a playlist. You spend 10 minutes on it. You're like, this is a waste of time. I have actual work to do, and you never build it. And then you buy their school community, and then we're all AI automation masters, dude. Makes me want to blow my brains out in 4K on live stream. Like, nothing makes me more angry than seeing that shit.
That's how it is.
As someone that's done this before GPT, makes me want to kill myself. End of rant. There we go. I don't know if that's where you wanted this to go, Vin, but it's going there.
I had zero expectations of where this would go, honestly.
Oh, that's good. He has such a low opinion of me that he has no expectations.
He knew it was going to be a me and you type of show today.
I should put on my hat for this, bro. I have this. I have a YouTube channel called The Automation Wizard where I have a.
Oh boy.
I have a cloak. Here, I'll put on my cloak here. And
we need to bring cloaks back. What is a great fashion statement that people aren't using anymore?
Oh,
where's my sunglasses? So I don't have my sunglasses on me right now, but I have a whole wizarding getup, and my alter ego is the Automation Wizard. So I just dress like this and then rant about automation. So if you're on YouTube, you want to go check out the Automation Wizard, you should do that. I may or may not be drinking while I'm filming.
You and I might be nerding out on some Cloud Code and Firecrawl and GitHub and other things too.
Oh, don't even get me started on Cloud Code.
Well,
anyway,
I'm not going to start.
Anyway,
you're going to get me going too. Vin, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, Vin, you want to say something, bro? You want to join us, my dude?
I'm cool. I feel like I'm just the producer this episode. It's nice. It's nice being able to observe a cool conversation happening without having to be a part of it. Kind of like being one of the listeners.
I'm curious on your intake too. Like, we talk about this all the time here, right? For AI. What do you think based on what Joe's saying?
I mean, I feel like my opinion stays the same. This is why I keep saying that community is everything. I don't think that AI is going to replace people seeking where they belong. I think that, we see in life that everything always goes through cycles of correction, right? So like the stock market, if it goes on a massive bull run, it's going to take a crazy dive. Right? If it goes on a crazy dive, it's going to eventually do a massive bull run. And so I look at everything in that regard because I've just seen it consistent throughout all of society. Like, it's not just in the stock market. There's patterns in everything. And people are no different. So AI is taking a massive bull run. Everybody wants to invest in AI companies because they could be the next big boom. People are dubbing it the .com bubble of our generation, right? It's got all of this hype behind it. And what we're doing is we're figuring out more and more ways to become disconnected from the world. And then as people become more and more disconnected, they're going to realize it because they're going to turn around and everything's going to be automated. There's no more taxi drivers. There's no more fast food workers. There's no more, like, if you hire a cleaning service to come to your house, they're not sending a maid, they're sending a robot. And as all of that happens, everybody's going to be like, holy shit, wait, where is everybody? Wait, where am I? Why am I alone? Why do I not get to interact with people anymore? And then community is coming back. Because we've even seen it with the internet, right? Like, everybody got super ingrained in the internet, right? Everybody started getting on the chat apps. They started doing chat rooms. They started doing online video games. They started doing this. They started doing that. And then what happens? All of a sudden, people want in-person events. Then we go through another wave where technology advances again. Then everybody goes into that. And then all of a sudden, everybody's like, oh, I'm disconnected. Let me go find community again. And so we're just seeing that now at a different and bigger scale. But I think this time it's going to be different because I think this one is going to be like a more here to stay scale. Like, I don't think that eventually, McDonald's gets rid of all the employees and puts kiosks, eventually they're not going to turn around and be like, we should bring back the employees. They're going to keep kiosks, but it's going to start pushing more people to actually be a part of communities for longer periods of time. And so I believe that everything right now should be community based. If you build with people in mind, as opposed to, and this is why I'm so against like, what can I get from you mindsets? Because I think that people, what they're going to be looking to get from you is connection, friendship, and the ability to do shit with you, as opposed to, oh, I need things to grow my business. People are going to automate everything out of their business. They're not going to need so much to grow their businesses or their lives. They're going to need friends. Humans are social creatures. There's no amount of AI technical revolution that could take away the essence of what it is to be a human, which is social connection. So I'm very bullish on communities, friendships, and circles, because that's going to be the boom after, you know, people really look around. They're like, oh, there's no people around me anymore. How do I get around people? And that's community.
I saw some statistics that were essentially showing from the 1980s. It was percentages of the amount of time that was spent. And the amount of time that was spent from the 1980s to 1990s with your family and friends was 78%. Then it was church and other things like that. Then it went into the 2000s and it was more friends. It was a little bit less in family. And then it was video games, technology, things like that.
Yeah.
Going all the way to 2024, which was the actual study, 76% of one person's time was spent on this. 76%. 24% was left over for family, for friends, for curricular activities. 24%.
Yeah, I believe it. Listen, one of my former clients has been building phone-free communities or phone-free events. And these events are like selling out every time he hosts them. And they're not super expensive.
I like that. Real connection.
But the reality is, you go, he has this box. And when you go to the event, you put your phone in the box and the box, you know, gets locked. Yeah. And dude, everywhere. And he's not just hosting them in one city. He's doing them in New York, in California, in London, in all these different states and countries. And he's getting more and more and more recognition. And the events are becoming more and more and more popular because people are bringing their friends, talking about how it was such an amazing time. And the advertising is being done itself because people aren't used to being in spaces where they're forced to interact with one another. And so that's where I'm saying I see it. Like, I'm not predicting this, and we could all come back to this podcast in like 5-10 years, but I'm going to say that that's exactly what's going to happen. People are going to want more than that. So if you build a community now, you're going to be in a great place. If you don't, and you're just focused on AI and automation and everything, I think you're going to be missing out in about 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I think speed is the great decider there, right? How fast are things like that going to become as popular as AI is, you know? Yeah. Which, again, I think AI is moving a lot slower than people realize. I think if you go outside and talk to people, you realize it's moving a lot slower than for us it feels like, because we're really on it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, well, it's because we talk about it all the time. We use it. We're figuring it out. So like, it seems it's all fast and moving and crazy because like, you figure something out and then all of a sudden there's an update and you're like, oh, now it doesn't work. I got to figure this out again, right? And so it's just that in it type of deal. It's crazy.
It's like very. I often wonder what kind of businesses will come back or what kind of things, because I think to your point, right, these live events, spending time with people is going to be more popular, but bills still have to be paid, right? So, what are going to be the emerging industries? You know. Like if I was really good at opening gyms, I would like be really bullish on that. If I knew someone who was really good at opening gyms, I would be putting all my money with them. If you know how to nail an in-person experience and you can scale that, like, are more people going to be spending time at rock climbing gyms and jiu-jitsu gyms and martial arts studios and in-person movie theaters and things like that? Will those things come back at a fast enough rate to offset the jobs that aren't being taken by AI in the tech world, you know?
Dude, I want to build a wellness gym so bad. That's like one of my big goals. You have no idea, but I don't know how to. Yeah, I think it's going to be really cool. I want to
huge market for it, man.
I think it'd be great. I've been going to the gym like most of my life since I was about 13. So I'm 34 now. So I have like 21 years of experience in gyms, and I've been to all types of gyms. And I could tell you what makes the gym great, what makes it suck, how you could get good people there, how you bring in stupid people. Like I know all the ins and outs of it at this point. I just got to open one. But I like that idea, man. So Joe, let me ask you this, because we're almost out of time here. I got a few final questions for you. It's been a very enlightening episode, and I hope the listeners feel the same way. But tell us this. We call this the 1% podcast because of the fact that we like to think that there is a 1% category of everything in life. As long as you're doing something different, being a cut above the rest, you are falling into that category. So we always like to ask, like, what is your version of a 1% life?
1% life?
Mm-hmm. That you're building differently.
Like, let me see if I understand the question. What's my version of what that looks like, or what's the version of how to get there, or what are you looking for?
Kind of all
Yeah,
those
I'm looking. Yeah, this is fine. I'm looking for your unique version, right? You're building something very different in this world, right? What is it that you're seeking to build for your life? Like, what are you trying to do to make yourself stand out in your own life?
I mean, there's a lot of cliche answers to that. You know, I think generally, can you leave things better than you found them? I think is how I'd sum it up. Do you leave the world a better place than it was than when you came into it? My dad always used to tell us when we'd stay somewhere, we'd go to a hotel, you know, leave it a better place than you found it. But you know, I'm a father, I have children, I have aspirations, and with my faith and my nonprofit and stuff like that. And it all comes down to leaving the world a better place than you found it. Whether it's through my children, through my work, through whatever it is, ultimately, you know, I think this really resonates with me just because of what just happened to Charlie Kirk. But what puts you in the top percent is your ability to leave the world better than you found it. And even in small ways, if that's through your children. But
yeah, I like that.
Amen.
Joe, what is one of the best pieces of advice that you've ever received in life or business that you want to leave with our audience?
It's not really, I guess it could be considered advice. It's gotten me through living in my car and a lot of other stuff, but it's just a really simple phrase. The bigger the dragon, the greater the hero. I think the number one killer of any person that I've ever met is their own self-doubt or fear. You know, fear is, what do they say in Dune? Fear is the mind killer. You know, I love to read. And it is true, man. Fear is the mind killer. So if you look at, like, I've said that phrase to myself 100 times, the bigger the dragon, the greater the hero. Just, it's a big dragon and you're going to be a great hero when you kill it. When I'm living in my car, this is a big dragon and I'm going to have a great story. So that phrase is just stuck with me for pretty much my entire life. And it's not really advice. It's just kind of a mental framework to put yourself in when you feel like you're going through it. It's just the dragon. It's just building a greater hero, you know?
I love it. And Joe, last question for you, man. How can people connect with you, your company? Where can they go to figure out, you know, how they could get involved in whatever it is that you're doing?
I'm the easiest person on the planet to get a hold of. My personal booking link is bookjz.com. BOOK, the letter J, the letter Z.com. I'm the easiest man on the planet to get a hold of. That's the best place. If anybody wants to get a hold of me, LinkedIn or bookjz.com is the best way to do it, or smartclick.systems is my website, but who goes to websites anymore? All of my socials are just my first name, last name, Joe Zapiain. Very easy to get there too. So
yeah, or better yet, just ask ChatGPT to tell you how to.
I got a client that way. I had someone book a call with me, and they said they were looking for automation companies, and GPT suggested me, and I was like, that was the first time that happened. So.
We don't have time to talk about that, but that is the new style of SEO that's coming and implementing. And there's ways to rank higher on that. Quick tips and tricks, SEM, branding. That's the best way of doing it right now through ChatGPT. Eventually, when ChatGPT and other AI platforms out there, I'm not going to say the top 5 that are coming out with paid advertisement and the deals that they're going to be signing soon. However, the best way for organic branding, SEM.
Yeah.
Love it. All right. Well, Joe, this has been a really interesting episode for me, and
Yeah,
I
this
hope
is
the
fun.
other listeners.
Yeah.
And so thanks for sharing a bunch of knowledge, man. Stick around for a minute afterwards. We got another thing to talk to you about. Appreciate you hopping on with us today. And guys, there you have it. Go check out Joe, go book, see what he's got going on, see how you can get involved. Of course, you probably want to build these automations. And as always, we hope you enjoyed today's episode of the 1% Podcast. Don't forget to like, share, follow, subscribe, comment, and let us know what you think of today's episode. Until then, we'll see you on the next one. As always, I'm your host, Vin End.
And I'm Shane.
And that was Joe. See you later, everybody.
Bye, guys.